Hey there, it's Andre, the Impulsive Thinker. Today I have back Don Barden. He's the CEO and owner of The Perfect Plan. You might remember him as we talked about The Perfect Plan and some other concepts and how ADHD used as an excuse is not acceptable. And he's a classically trained blah, blah, economist, got it. But he's really a
I've been
frustrated
called worse. You're fine.
but he's really a frustrated anthropologist. Don, great to see you again.
Hey, man, thanks for having me back. And thank you for continuing with this mission of yours. I listen to every episode and I share it. And I'm telling you, man, you're doing great work. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. And it's kind of weird, but we're approaching 200 episodes soon.
Oh, congratulations.
That's 199 more than I thought.
Wow. That's pretty good.
The reason I've got you back on, Don, because the odd time when we talk, we each have good thing. We have aha moments or just a pondering that we like a kernel of a thought. And what you said is, like we've had the listeners who recognize the name Julia Waller from Strategic Coach and Unique Ability. She's had a big influence on you identifying your unique ability and mine as well. But you said something that sparked an interesting thought is once you figured out your unique ability and you start working on it, what's next?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, right? Unique ability, I think, is one of the best theories I've ever heard. And to give your listeners a refresh, Sullivan's theory, Dan Sullivan's theory, that you only have 4 abilities. And that's your incompetence, which means you're just terrible at it. Competence means you're okay. You have your excellent ability, which is where most people stop. Because they're like, I'm going to be excellent at this. Well, yeah, but there's a lot of excellence out there. Then there's nirvana. There's your unique ability. And Julia Waller has done just such an incredible job of taking that concept and running with it and helping people figure out what each person's gift is, their unique ability, the one thing that you can do that nobody else can do, or very, very few people can do. And it has a couple of traits, right? Like when you're doing this thing, your unique ability is all you want to do. It's like a drug. But what's different is when you're in your zone, I guess you can call it that, when you're in your unique ability, then other people want to be around you while you're doing it.
Right.
And that's a huge concept, man. I mean, that is just a mind-altering thing when you say, well, wait a minute, but I don't know if I have unique ability or how do I find it? And Julia does a great job of a day and a half of light bulb swinging over your heads, to figure out, what your unique ability, really is. But there's 2 things I found in this whole unique ability concept, and that's, number one, when you embrace who you are, you're free to be you. You're free to go out there and do it, which means don't try to do something that you're not. It's just not going to happen. If you're incompetence or competence or excellent, that's okay, but don't do it, man. Focus on that one thing that you do better than anybody else, that thing that you're gifted to do. And then if you can do that and find it out, it's amazing. But then people come back.
I want to clarify something on there. When we're referring to excellent abilities or excellent tasks and unique ability tasks, like even our excellent abilities, this is what we're known for. This is what we're good at. That's what other people see us as being great at. Just because we're great at it doesn't mean we necessarily need to do it, because the difference between excellent tasks and unique ability tasks is we're excellent at those too, but the passion behind it and the want, and it's a never ending energy that you can work in your unique ability.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing, I thought about this a couple of weeks ago. I was in your hometown. I was just west of Toronto or north of Toronto, and it was a Canadian Open, the golf tournament there at Oakville. And it was amazing. I got there on a Sunday and I got to go watch the guys. And I'm a really good golfer. In fact, I'm an excellent golfer. But they won't even give me, when somebody's in their unique ability, it's the difference between being a professional golfer and an excellent golfer. I mean, I was watching those guys and it's just, that is all they do. It's all they want to do. Their unique ability is just zoned in on that thing. So you can be excellent and you can find some satisfaction in that. But the reality is, depending on where you want to perform, it's just not good enough. And you get to that unique ability stage and you realize, oh my God, I can just do this and I'll be performing at the highest levels and I can help and serve other people. That's all you want to do. But the other thing I want to point out is that doesn't mean that you ignore your incompetence, competence, and excellence, right? Those 3 abilities are important. You just don't need to be doing it. And the other aha moment that Julia was so mind-altering to me was when she helped me realize that my incompetence is somebody else's unique ability, where there's things that I will procrastinate and avoid and not want to be a part of. There are people in the world that will run toward that. They love doing that.
Well,
So
it could be your competent, incompetent, and excellent test, someone else's unique ability.
Absolutely. You outsource that, and that's somebody else's unique ability. And then when that starts happening, man, everything starts to work at a completely different level. And I don't know, it's just an amazing concept of doing it. But when you ask the question, what's beyond that? When I was talking to Julia, the one thing that, and I put my nerd hat on, my economist hat on. I'm a behavioral economist technically, which means I focus on decision-making processes, why people make the decisions they do, and how does it impact other decisions that are being made. So it's not about yield curves and interest rates. I mean, we can talk about that, but it's boring. And all due respect to my fellow economists who like that stuff, it's their unique ability. It's not, I'm just not excited by it. I care more about the human experience. And I started looking at this going, wow. And I told Julia, I said, you need to take this unique ability concept one step further and say, okay, this is your unique ability, but I'm a big believer. And people ask me all the time, they'll say, oh, how's the economy? And I say, which one? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, let's just start at the basics. If there's 8 billion people on the planet, let's say every single person came through another person, right? Mm-hmm. So there's at least 4 billion families or family units out there. The most complicated economic spectrum in the world is the family. I mean, forget about, North America and OPEC and all that. No. The family in any place in the world is the most economic or the most complex economic system there is. So you start looking at it and go, but what separates these super high performers, the people who live in their unique ability, and the people who don't? Because everybody's got a gift, man. Everybody's got a unique ability, but some people just can't tap into it. And I told her, I said, if you look at the complexities of the world and the economics of the world and behavioral science around all this stuff, I think there's another step, and that's the unique path. What was your unique path that got you here? What was your thing that made you special? And combine that with this gift you've got, this unique ability. So when unique path and unique ability slam into each other, I think then that's when you see hyper performance. That's when you see, and I don't mean just production like you're a gazillionaire or whatever. I mean, you're just performing at a level that you just ooze happiness and you magnetize other people to want to be around you. But I think it's a combination of your unique ability, you being free to be you, but you got to also say, but how'd they get there? What happened in their path, their life, that helped them get to where they are? And I think what a lot of us do is we discount that. We look at it and we say, yeah, well, I was a little embarrassed by that. Or, yeah, I tried something that failed. Or, oh, yeah, I did this really well. Or I met these people, but I don't ever talk about it. No, man, it's the opposite. Those things add up to the formula that made you who you are today. And we know that, but here's a mind-altering, another mind-blowing thing here. Eric Solbakken. I don't know. Have you had Eric on?
Yeah, Eric the Viking. Yeah,
Eric the Viking, right?
In the entrepreneurial world.
Oh, an amazing human being. But he was talking to me one day. We were walking down the streets in British Columbia, and the wind was blowing. It's a beautiful spring day in British Columbia. The mountains still had the snow caps on it, but it's warming up a little bit down at the bottom where we were. And he said, do you feel that? And I said, yeah, it was a warm breeze. He said, you and I are the only people that felt it, because you and I were the only people standing here when that happened. And I felt it differently than you felt it. And I said, what are you doing here, dude? Did you jump in one of the shops here, these little shops with little green leaves on it, and I missed it? Yeah. You should have invited me, man. And he's like, no. I'm just trying to tell you that we are so unique as individuals. He said, you are a gift. And you start going through the math behind just what are the odds of your DNA slamming into another DNA, the form the zygotes, the split, and constantly turn into this human being. The odds are immeasurable, and then all of a sudden you say, but then every second, every breath, every blow of the wind is part of your uniqueness that makes you unlike anybody else in the history of all of time. That you are living in this moment, and that moment you're living in is a gift, and it's a gift to everybody around you too. So what are you doing with it? And that concept kind of hurt my head, because what he was saying was there's nobody else like you anywhere in the world, because nobody else has experienced what you've experienced. Now, other people have grown up in the same town. Other people have the same degree. Other people went to the same university. Other people are in the same industry. Other people have, families with 3 kids and a dog and a cat. There's plenty of that. But nobody has the unique path that you have as an individual. And I started thinking about that, and he really, really set me back on my heels a bit, because I started thinking about being more in the present, but really appreciating this unique path. So going back to that, if you think about, there's nobody else on the planet like you, Andre. Now we know that because you're Andre, right? but when we look at that and say, wait a minute, that's true.
Yeah.
It's not only there's nowhere in the planet, there's nobody in the history of time like you. And you are a series of unique events that has happened, has glued itself from that warm breeze in British Columbia to going to a Blue Jays game to whatever, everything adds up to you. And there's a real good friend of mine, Dave Sanderson. Has he ever been on your show before?
Yep.
Dave talks about moments matter, right? And he says all these things happen in your life that are unique. Hopefully one day when you have to make a withdrawal of all these experiences because you need to do it, those moments actually mattered. And unfortunately for him, he was in a plane crash. He was on US Air 1549, that flight in the Hudson.
And he landed in the Hudson River.
Yeah. So he had to pull from all that data and all that information. But think about that for him. His life took a unique path. And all those little things that happened to him along the way that he didn't even think about, he needed to pull on that in that
at the
moment.
time. Yeah. That's what he talked about when he was on.
Oh, it's an amazing concept, man. But if you go through it, you think about it, it's like, wow, we all have this gift, right? We all have a niche. There's something about us that makes us special. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. So once you find your unique ability and you realize that you can help and serve a lot of people because you've got this gift, I think we need to look deeper and say, but wait a minute, there's other people who have this same unique ability. Why is mine different? And I think the only answer to that is it's different because you have a unique path, that there was something that happened to you that brought you to where you are today and is continuing to happen every second. And
the only thing I disagree with that, I don't think another person has my same unique ability or your unique ability. There might be a lot of similarities, but not the same. So when you first mentioned to me the unique path, I, for some reason, thought you're talking about moving forward, but you're actually talking about our unique path to today.
Well, I think they're combined. I don't think there's any separation between them.
No, but
because of the path you've had in the past.
Right. And I like that concept of, we had a unique path to today. And I've discussed it a few times with some shorts and other people. Like, I kind of regret being diagnosed late and I'm more disappointed I was diagnosed late in life with severe ADHD, but I don't regret it anymore because I am here today because of this path. Yeah. And what am I going to do about it to do something? And I don't know if this is, lately we've been looking at the triangle, 3 parts of something. You got unique path, unique ability. Would purpose have something to do with it? So if the unique ability, you got a hold of your unique ability, you understand your unique path. If they cross, does that create more of an alignment of our purpose to determine our unique future?
Brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. Yes. If you can get your purpose aligned with your unique ability, which can only be fueled by your path, what's gotten to you, you're unstoppable. And you can just go out there and do great things. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have highs and lows, ups and downs. It doesn't mean that there's going to be some days that you're just questioning all of your life's decisions. But at the end of the day, when you find purpose, you can center it around your unique ability and be respectful of your unique path. All those things that got you there. And I love what you said. How did you word it? You said you were disappointed.
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. At first I regretted being diagnosed late, but now I'm disappointed, but I don't regret it.
No, there's no reason to regret, right? No. Because now and nothing matters except from this point forward about what's going to happen. So, man, when you find your purpose, if you can align purpose with unique ability, with the blessings of your path, I just can't imagine how anything, can stop you from whatever you want to achieve. And you might find your purpose is to go out there and do, just put inspiring words on people like what you're doing. It might be back to engineering. It might be teaching. It might be, your purpose is just to give happy smiles to people throughout the day because you never know who needs it. But whatever that gift you've got is that allows you to do that, and you look at everything in your past that brings you to that, oh my gosh. I mean, you can do anything. I mean, you just can't.
Well, the other thing too is there's a lot of people say I'm embarrassed what I did back then. Maybe there's some embarrassment, but I've done a lot of silly things. I've made a lot of big mistakes.
Yeah.
I've screwed up many, many times, but it took me a while to forgive myself because that's part of other stuff with that. But in the end, I'm like, you know what? Every time I figured out new ways to not do that again.
Yeah.
Right. So that's growth. So, in a way, I think Dan Sullivan mentioning is he's not ashamed of his past. He's not, what's the other one? Embarrassed by his past. His past is his learning experience. And how can we go forward by what we learned in the past?
Oh, 100%. And I've got 2 rules here in my business. We never ask what went wrong. We always praise everything in our analysis of a situation. It's always based on 2 questions. Number 1, what we do right. Because you know what? You might not appreciate the outcome. It might not be your outcome that you want. But let's celebrate this. There were some wins here. What did we do right? We start looking through it. And then we realize you did a lot of things right, even though it didn't end up the way you want to. It's okay. But then instead of saying what we do wrong, I'd say, well, what will we do better next time? So the question is, what do we do right? And what do we need to do better next time? And that allows you to look at these moments that did matter, as Dave would say, and say, okay, what did I learn from this? How do we keep going? Because you know what? If what's the old thing? The doctor says it hurts when I hit my hand with a hammer.
Yeah, and stop hitting yourself.
Stop hitting your hand with a hammer, you idiot. You're right. So you look at it, and you go, okay, what did I learn? What we do right? What do we need to do better next time so I don't repeat those same things? And you realize it starts getting better and better. And again, you're brilliant, man. Is if you can align this with your purpose, you're in rock star world, man. Yeah, you're out there, doing things. And what's interesting, I think, on that concept is perspective. I work with a lot of professional athletes, Hall of Fame type players. And the one thing that I've noticed when I talk to some of these elite performers is they know their purpose, and it might not be what you think it is.
Right.
Like, I'm really good friends with a gentleman, basketball Hall of Famer, Dominique Wilkins. And he's known for putting the slam dunk on the map. Him and Michael Jordan used to go toe-to-toe with slam dunks. Michael was really good at marketing. He had the Nike deal, so he had a little bit of a different outcome. But, those guys changed the game for what it was. And I asked him one time, I said, how do you feel about being nicknamed the human highlight film or highlight factory, just all these dunks? And he said, it's funny. He said, my 3 highest scoring games, I think there was 55, 57, and 61 points in a game. He said, the only common denominator in those 3 games of a 20-year career was those 3 highest scoring games had 0 dunks in them. He said, but he said, Ted Turner hired him. And he said back in the early 80s, late 70s, he said, what is my job? And Ted Turner said, put butts in the seats. You're an entertainer. Right. And he said that clicked with him. And he realized, wait a minute, I'm not just a pro basketball player. I'm an entertainer. That these people are coming here spending hard-earned money to bring their family, their kids, or their buddies, or whoever to come to a basketball game. You don't think anything about the fans. But why are those fans in the stadium? They're there to escape. They're there to be entertained. They're there to watch something. They're there to watch other people's unique abilities play out, right? And be entertained by that. But it's really about, do you make them feel good about the expense that they tied to the ticket and their whole experience? And Dominique told me, he said, I knew I was an entertainer who had the unique ability to fly. And I converted that to basketball, and I would fly through the sky and do these dunks and do these crazy things. But I never, ever stopped understanding the importance of that person in the stand. And so his purpose was to entertain. And to this day, and I joke with him about this all the time, we can't go to lunch together and walk down the street to grab a sandwich, because so many people come up and talk to him, and he'll talk back. He'll take pictures. He'll sign autographs. He'll do things because he still knows that was part of his unique path that combined with his unique ability, and he was able to entertain them. He said, so I haven't stopped, and he said, I'm going to give them everything. And it reminded me of Frank Sinatra. Do you remember Frank Sinatra, the singer?
Yep. Never moved his own pianos.
Huh?
He never moved his own pianos.
That's true. He didn't have to. But one time they asked Frank Sinatra why he always wore a tuxedo during his concerts. And he said, because I realize there are people here that will pay months of their income to come see me. And he said, he didn't say unique ability, but he said, if my gift is to entertain them for a couple hours and they're willing to spend sometimes 2 weeks or a month of their income to buy the ticket to come see me, I'm going to treat every single person like it's a command performance at Buckingham Palace. I'm going to roll out everything I got. I don't care if they dig ditches, if they're doctors, lawyers, whatever. My job is to entertain them. So going back to your concept, which I think is brilliant, Andre, is unique ability combined with these moments matter, which is your unique path, combined with purpose. Oh my gosh, think about what you can do. So you look at these elite performers out there like Dominique and Frank Sinatra and these other guys, and you go, wow, they knew their purpose. And in both their cases, it was the same. One just played one same, but it's to entertain.
I think it brings you clarity on your purpose.
Yeah.
Clearer purpose, because you got the path that got you here. And if you understand your unique ability and how to use it,
yeah,
I think that becomes a blinking light or a beacon.
Oh yeah. And guess what? And you want to keep doing it. You know, when people say they're burned out, I'm always like, yeah, you're burnt out because something's off.
And
right?
It's not for accolades. Like I forget the guy's name, the basketball player. It's not for the accolades. He's an entertainer. That's his unique ability. He loves doing that for other people's sake, not just to be, hey, it's me, look at me.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And everyone sees it when you're in your unique ability. Everyone will watch you kind of look like back, whoa, man, look at that guy go. Just like your example with on the PGA tour, and I think it was Oakville or Burlington, one of the two. But you can see the difference between a pro player and a really good, excellent player in any sport. And there's a passion. The biggest difference is there's a passion and there's a drive and there's a need to get better, to find out what they can, so they can repeat until they don't get it wrong.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'm a big fan of American football. And when you watch football, I'm particularly a fan of college football, university. But you look at the best university teams out there, the University of Georgia, Alabama, and you think, oh my gosh, these people are putting in fact, their unique ability is so strong. Over 100,000 people sit in the stands and watch them perform. At Michigan, it's 110 or 115,000. I mean, that's insane.
In a town of 20,000, right?
Come together, watch a sporting event. But here's what and if you ask the athletes and you ask the coaches, you say, okay, say Alabama or Georgia, the two biggest and the best programs in American college football, 100,000 people every Saturday come watch them play live, not to mention the millions that are watching on TV. You take the absolute best college football team, Alabama or Georgia, Michigan, whoever, you can put them against the worst professional team. And there are people out there who think, oh, Alabama will beat the worst pro team anywhere or something. Guess what? Nowhere close. Not only will Alabama and Georgia not score, they probably won't get a first down. They literally will be immobilized when they run into a professional team. And you think, well, a professional team is made up of a bunch of ex-college players. How can that happen? Oh, it happens. But that's the difference between excellence and unique ability. Excellence is like college football. You watch and you go, man, when all these excellent teams are playing each other, it's a lot of fun and it's escapism and it's entertainment. Oh, you want to go to the next level? You want to go to the unique ability? And you look at all those players and the path that got them there. And it's just mind-boggling. In fact, one of the things I like to do, and I figured this out early on, if you watch American professional football, in the beginning of every game, when they're introducing the players, they'll say, the guy will come up and say, I'm so-and-so, and I played at whatever university. Very, very rarely is it one of the major universities. These are kids who are up there talking and say, oh, I went to Wichita Community State, whatever college, or so-and-so. And you're like, how did that guy go from that little school to there? It was unique ability and it was a unique path. And they all converged for that purpose of entertaining people through this gift they got to play football or whatever. So it's not just business that all this applies to. I mean, it's way beyond it. And I think you can appreciate people without jealousy or any hindrance. If you look at them, you say, what a cool story. What a unique path that person had to combine with their unique ability. And now we add the Andre variable on there, their purpose. Oh my God. I mean, that's why you see these people perform at the highest levels.
You know what? I really like that analogy between, I think Julia's got to pick this. Julia has to pick this one up, like pro sports and college sports. Like right now, like NHL, the hockey league, I'm Canadian, so hockey's on top.
Oh yeah.
we just see when you see that young rookie come out of the junior league, which is your college level, play in first time in an NHL game, they're destroyed. You know, they're like they're lost puppies. They're excellent, strong players, but at that level, but they can gain that the unique abilitiness and that the veterans figured out with time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of Mike Tyson, when Tyson used to be, you know, the world heavyweight champion boxer. I think he was fighting, God, I want to say Holmes. I forgot who it was he was fighting. They interviewed the other guy, and the guy said, well, I've got a plan. And so then the newspaper reporter went to Mike Tyson. He said, hey, this guy's got a plan on how to beat you. And Tyson said, yeah, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
and I think in that same interview, Tyson said that he throws every punch with murderous intention.
Yeah.
So kind of rattled people. So, but that's the difference. You're right. But that doesn't mean that these kids coming out of the juniors, you know, moving into the NHL, they're going to be there. Now they've just got to take their own unique path too. They've got to go in there and make, they've got to have courage. They got to have capabilities. They got to have all this stuff that says, okay, I've got lucky, you know, but luck favors the prepared. So if you're prepared with your unique ability, you recognize your unique path and you align that with your purpose, and then that luck favors you, but you're prepared when that happens, you get your shot, you know. And if you can hold on to it and be grateful and realize what you're there to do. And in most cases, is to entertain or to transfer value or to lead or to serve or to, it really goes a long way.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, and I'll say this real quick and I'll shut up, but there's a big difference in leadership. People are out there talking about the servant leadership movement. We started in 1975, 1976. It's moved on and it's kind of cool. Everybody gets it, but that's not the pinnacle. You know, servant leadership is the excellence, but the unique ability is stewardship. And stewardship means that you recognize that you're here for a short period of time. And during that time, a unique thing has happened, combined with your unique ability and your purpose. And for a certain amount of time, you're going to steward this company or this team or this project or whatever. But that time's going to come to an end. And when it does, you hope the next person up, they're in line with their unique ability, their unique path, and their unique purpose. But this concept of taking servant leadership to another level of steward leadership, that's going back to your brilliance there, Andre. That's purpose aligning with unique ability, aligning with a unique path. And then you say, hey, I've only got a short time period here to do something. Man, you can get focused and you can make some cool things happen.
Well, this is what I really enjoy about this podcast is these collaborative discussions where we went off on your original concept, discussed, a couple more things came together. And this is a big collaboration on furthering each other's ideas and concepts. And to me, I hope their listeners actually heard each of our unique abilities in this discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So too, because it came out, didn't it?
Yeah.
You have the ability to discern. I think. In fact, what was your unique ability?
Devouring large amounts of complicated information, reframing it, and connecting other people's dots.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're a puzzle maker or puzzle. You can see the puzzles. Mine is to take complex situations and simplify them so everybody can understand. Not to dumb it down. No. But, you know, people, you know, engineering, doctors, lawyers, everybody has their own language so they can charge you more. You know, if doctors didn't speak Latin, they wouldn't charge you as much. If lawyers didn't have legalese, they couldn't charge you as much. But to sit there and go, there's nothing really special about the concept or the conceptual framework around this, but it's just confusing. So my unique ability is to take complex situations and organize them in a way where it can be retold so that everybody can understand it. Yeah. And I think that's a unique ability. And at the end of the day, I'm a teacher, you know? Yeah. Exactly. I teach. I'm a professor. That's what I love to do. And if I've enjoyed my tenure as CEO of these companies, these big companies, and doing things I've been doing. But if I can wake up tomorrow and say, what am I going to do the rest of my life? Forget my expensive taste, you know. So how am I going to pay for this? It would be to go out there and teach full time in a university and help these kids transfer knowledge at a faster level so that they can understand it. Because I've always been a big believer that understanding is much more important than knowledge. Exactly. And then just to clarify too, when I'm a shitstorm navigator, so if the shitstorm happens, call me. But if there's a zombie apocalypse, that's when you come in, buddy. That's when I get called. Yeah, Julia put that at the end of my unique ability. She said, you know what, I'm concerned. I'm finally convinced that when the zombie apocalypse happens, we need to be near you. And I said, yeah, but here's an honest approach to that. If the zombie apocalypse happened, I would enjoy it. So,
Yes, I would. Yeah, I hear
at
you.
least I admit it. It will be
So,
fun.
man, thanks again, Don. Like, this is really good. Remember that people can see when you're in your unique ability. You don't know it, but people do observe it and they want to be around you. Take ownership of your past. Don't be ashamed of it. Learn from it, which is your unique path, as you brought up. And if your unique path and your unique abilities collide, I think you got clarity on your purpose.
Yeah.
And then I think that really helps with your forward unique path.
Yeah.
So, Don, thanks again for being on here. I appreciate it as usual.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. Keep doing it. I mean, again, talk about unique ability, purpose, and path. I mean, all these things have collided for you. I mean, you go back 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Do you ever think you'd be doing this podcast talking about this?
No. And not helping other ADHD entrepreneurs understand themselves.
Yeah, but think about that too, that unique path. You can sit there on one side and say, well, did I regret it? Am I disappointed? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Look at that. All that soup came together, ingredients to help you do what you're doing now. And you, Andre, are helping a lot of people. So cheers to you and cheers to Julia for continuing to stay on the path of unique abilities. I think between the two of you, you're my favorite people on the planet. So keep it up, man. This is great.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. And one more plug for Don, because him and his wife are very passionate about serving the Culture City, Kulture City charity, and they support and promote autism, sensory inclusion, youth leadership, and mental health. So I'm going to put in the show notes where you can connect with them. And if you can make a donation, be greatly appreciated. Don, I think we can reach out to you on LinkedIn. That'll all be in the show notes. Again, question to the listener. Are you good with your unique path, which is, as Don pointed out, is the past to today? Let me know if you're comfortable with it, uncomfortable, or comfortable with it. So thanks again, Don. And to the listeners, thank you very much.
Thank you.